The Habs have the opportunity to do something insane right now as reports have come out that Noah Dobson has switched agents. This indicates something very interesting is to come, and one Habs writer proposes Patrik Laine to trade to the New York Islanders for Noah Dobson as the Islanders are looking for that current scoring on their roster. We had to dive into what that could look like and how Montreal could pull something like this off and whether they should or not. This is crazy, but we also have to dive into some quotes from Patrik Laine that are catching a lot of heat, especially with some French media. But we do also have some good news on the Jacob Fowler front from a prospect report at The Athletic. There's a lot of great stuff to get into on this episode of Habs Digest, so stick around. I want to start with Jacob Fowler, Jesse. Now, if you're interested in the Laine stuff, there will be a timestamp down below, but you don't want to miss this Fowler stuff too. We love talking about Jacob Fowler, as in a recent article for The Athletic, Scott Wheeler has been doing his prospect analysis. Demidov was ranked the number 1 prospect, and Jacob Fowler is ranked the number 2 goalie, jumping over some other pretty big names. He's now in tier 1, right alongside Yaroslav Askarov. And Scott Wheeler's quote about him, just to take a bit of the article, I'll link the article down below if you have a subscription as well, said he's the kind of goalie who, if he can see a shot and move to it, he's going to stop it. He doesn't show holes in the net. He has the reflexes to get a piece of or a hold of pucks when he does. He's got a legitimate shot, not just to be an NHL goalie, but to be a top one. And there aren't many goalies at his age I'm comfortable saying that about. I mean, Jesse, we know Jacob Fowler has that .936 save percentage, the sub-2 GAA, but to see him now be all the way up to number 2 of all goalies in the league for where he was drafted, this is just, it somehow just keeps getting better for him.
Yeah, nothing foul about Fowler's game here. And above forever nemesis Trey Augustine at number 6, you got to love to see that. We're seeing the improvement from Jacob Fowler going to those, 926 to now those high 930s kind of as a result, right? So very exciting for this team. A big thank you to Kent Hughes for drafting this player, also making our job a lot more exciting as well, because, I mean, this player just has star written all over him. Like as Scott Wheeler says, like, one of the few goalies he feels comfortable at this age to be a legit top goalie in the entire NHL. Like that is just absolutely phenomenal, the praise that he's getting right now. He's also in the mix, for that Hobie Baker as well with the season that he's really having right now. So, I mean, there just seems to be no limit on what Jacob Fowler can do. He's got that skill, but it's also like that character that I think we love so much about him here in Montreal.
Absolutely. The character, the compete level. The only downside it seems like a lot of outlets talk about is the athleticism and the conditioning, but there's lots of time to do that. And to be honest, when you watch him, it doesn't look like very much of a weakness when he's playing in these games. And regardless, whenever he makes that jump to the pros, he's getting all the best training in the world. Super excited for Jacob Fowler. Leave a like on the video if you are excited for Jacob Fowler like we are. It's unbelievable. But Jesse, we got to jump into this Line A stuff. And look, I know this Line A Dobson stuff is absolutely crazy. We'll get into that in just a minute, but I want to first start with some quotes from Patrik Laine talking about a bit of the Four Nations and a bit of his current situation. Now, this has been getting a lot of heat. Some French media got very upset at Patrik Laine for this, some English media too. And I wanted to clear the air here because this is absolutely ridiculous to me. So you've probably heard the quote that was taken out of context where he said, "Do I wish to be out there more? Absolutely. Who doesn't?" Also, I don't want to get into that too much, but when you're out there for 10 minutes, I guess it's hard when you're used to playing more. You're not in the rhythm and all that, but you still got to try to be out there and do your best. So people took that and ran with it as in he's complaining about Marty, Kent Hughes, and Jeff Gorton, but the full context of the quote includes things like, obviously, I haven't been able to perform like I probably should, so I understand why I haven't been playing as much as maybe normally. And he also went on to say that at that point, you just got to take a look in the mirror as well. You just got to put in the work and got to make things happen. Sometimes it's a little tough, but I feel like now this will be a good turning point to get some confidence back and get some boost for the rest of the year. Clearly, Jesse, he's just excited to get going again with Montreal, use this as a reset like we said. Look, I just want to take a minute here to just say, like, all the hate directed towards Patrik Laine, not to mention he's a guy who's spoken out so much on mental health and things like that. I don't know. I just find it crazy. I just wanted to clear the air a bit.
Absolutely. And it's totally needed here. And what Patrik Laine is doing is like, he's saying all the right things. In fact, I needed to hear that, saying that he wants to put in that work to really kind of get that success. If he's looking to get the results, he absolutely knows the right way to do it. So when we're talking about here, this is a player that's showing both that he wants to play and that he also wants to be held accountable and that he gets it. So if we're looking for some key indicators for Patrik Laine to have a big bounce back, which is kind of his MO, in terms of his game, look no further, because this is exactly it. When you kind of have that moment to kind of look yourself in the mirror, he's wanting to use this as a platform, as a launch board to really spring the rest of his season off in such a really strong way. He wants to kind of get his mojo and then obviously bring that back to the Montreal Canadiens. I just love that he is being accountable here. He kind of knows it. And for me, that's absolutely huge for this team because of what we know he can bring.
And I'm pumped to see him on Team Finland. Again, we're going to hopefully cover some of those games, watching what him and Joel Armia can do. Going to be very, very exciting. It looks like Monty's not going to be the starter for Team Canada, but if he gets some run, we'll be talking about that as well. But just pumped to see Laine be able to bounce back. He is a streaky player. We knew that when we got him, coming off major knee surgery, or well, I guess not surgery, but a major knee injury. Like, I just can't wait till he's finally back in that rhythm, playing a full year. So nothing but praise for Patrik Laine. However, look, we got to talk about something here. This is insane. Like, this is straight up crazy right now that we're even discussing this, but hold your horses. You're probably already typing a comment about what we're about to talk about, but look, I promise we got some stuff to back up what we're saying. So the first thing here is Stefan Rosner, an Islanders insider, said per industry sources, Noah Dobson has changed agents from Andrew Maloney to Judd Moldaver and Olivier Fortier of Wasserman. Now, I believe Wasserman, they do represent, I think it's Austin Matthews, maybe even also Connor McDavid, but some big name players, and even Jeff Merrick coming in saying, good scoop by Stefan here, Stefan. Usually when you switch agents, it indicates you want something to happen. We'll see where this goes. And look, Noah Dobson, coming out, he's 24 points in 46 games this year, 70-point season last year. He's an RFA this year, due for an extension. Here's the thing, though. Jesse, we saw an article that I'll link down below, Blaine Potvin, because, look, we know from sources, we talked about this on the channel already, on rg.org, it was reported that the Islanders are looking for some top-end scoring forwards in exchange for Noah Dobson. That's what they want. They want a scoring forward that they've lacked. And this article from Blaine Potvin that is linked down below, he mentions Patrik Laine. He said, for elite scoring, Montreal's almost guaranteed not to part ways with Caufield, especially with him being under contract for 7 more seasons. I'm not shipping Caufield for Dobson. I don't care. That's not something I'm willing to do. However, Patrik Laine may be an option. Marty St. Louis has been trying to get him play more engaged, and to Laine's credit, he's responded on ice with some improved physical defensive play, but like the majority of the roster over that time, it hasn't been amazing. But if it's a fit for the Islanders and Canadiens, it wouldn't be a 1-for-1. It had to be a Laine ++. Look, if this was possible from the Islanders, if Laine fits their timeline in terms of their roster style a little bit better, it could make some sense. I don't think Laine is not that much older than Dobson, so I don't really know why they would not want to keep Dobson around. Maybe he's going to command a lot of money. Maybe Laine will command a lot less, but Laine gives that scoring touch up front. Is it insane for me to say that I honestly wouldn't hate this as much as I'd love Patrik Laine to spend the time with the Montreal Canadiens? I'd love to see him bounce back. He loves to be here. And I would hate it from an emotional perspective, a personal perspective. But in terms of if I put this just in a vacuum, I kind of don't mind that.
I get where you're coming from, absolutely. And there's kind of some granular pieces that we can get to, really speaking of why that it would make sense in a couple ways. That being said, Finland, Habs Digest Nation,
yeah,
we love Patrik Laine.
Love
we know the start that he's had with this team. Again, 8 goals in his first 10 games. My only question here, Josh, is would trading Laine for Noah Dobson, would it be a lateral move? We know that scoring is an issue, and we know that defense is an issue. It's really which one of more? It's just the fact, obviously in the ideal world, you'd want to kind of improve your team in a certain way without taking away somewhere else where it needs help with, goal scoring. And I'm not even going to say secondary goal scoring for Patrik Laine, because if he sticks around, he can get onto that top line. And there is a world where we're extending him, where if he has a great season next year, you want to be a team that can maybe lock him down and really kind of finally tap into the genius that is Patrik Laine's game when he's really cooking there. At the same time, if we're making an argument of why maybe a Laine trade would make more sense, obviously to get something like Dobson, you're probably going to have to give something kind of back there. Yes, it probably does make a little bit more sense than a Cole Caufield, who's been a part of this team for a long time. The only other argument of why I could say maybe trading a Laine, where it's trading that scoring we need for defensive help, is maybe you think that, again, that Laine wouldn't be as good in the playoffs. And I think that's unfair to say without giving him a chance to say, oh, he's not a playoff player, he wouldn't do well. I think that is an argument stylistically on his game that you could make if you're looking to kind of really build a playoff performer. Is that fair to make that assessment fully right now? No, it isn't. I think we really kind of need to see Patrik Laine. He's just coming to his own. He's still fresh off injury. I don't know. I don't want to bet against this guy because I just saw how he was able to light up the lamp. And if you're a Montreal Canadiens goaltender, that's the last thing you want to see on that faceoff dot opposite you, knowing that you just had him in your fold not too long ago. But again, there's rumblings going on in New York, and that's why this is interesting and why we need to bring it up, because it seems like Montreal with Laine would maybe have some of the more attractive packages. Again, with this move from Dobson to the Wasserman group, like he's looking for a big deal. He's looking to make something happen. So, I mean, those rumblings there are very interesting.
Yeah, I'm very much of two minds about this because, again, like I said, from a personal, like, this would be incredibly cutthroat. And that's one of the reasons I just don't see Kent Hughes doing this. Like, that is not what you, like, this is not the kind of thing that you would ever do if you want to gain the goodwill of your players, right? For people to come playing for you. This kind of move would be so cutthroat. But in terms of a business perspective, if we're talking like, we traded Jordan Harris for Laine in a second, and then you trade some picks plus, in essence, Jordan Harris, and then you flip that for Noah Dobson, like in a vacuum from a pure business hockey sense, it makes sense. But again, like emotionally and for the goodwill of the players, I find this insane. Like, I don't know. I'm of two minds about this. I can't, I know where I stand. Like, I think this would just be, man, I don't even know. I don't even know, because from a hockey stance, it makes sense. From a personal stance, it doesn't. Where do my morals lie? I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say right now. I don't think I would do it. I don't think it makes sense. Look, Montreal needs to get their depth scoring on forwards, to me, at this point, is more important than adding another mainly offensive defenseman. I think that's where I land, but we want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. This is an insane discussion that we're even having, but let us know your thoughts. I'm sure there's a lot of them. That'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Holy crap, this is just going to get crazier and crazier as the days go on. I can assure you of that. Josh Gosse for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.